Lately, I've noticed that most of the content I've been uploading revolves around Hayabusa. Honestly, that's because I had a clear goal in mind this season. I wanted to push Hayabusa's MMR as high as possible, ideally even reaching the global leaderboard. That was my initial plan, and I was really motivated to make it happen. However, reality hit me harder than expected. This season turned out to be busier than I thought. As many of you already know, I also have my exams coming up, and preparing for them has taken a lot of my time and energy. I tried balancing everything, telling myself I could still grind ranked while studying, but it just didn't work out the way I had hoped. So, even though I promised myself that I'd reach global this season, I have to accept that it's not going to happen right now. It's a little disappointing, but at the same time, I know my priorities are important. That being said, this isn't the end, it's only a delay. I want to make it clear that next season, I'll be back with full focus. My goal of hitting global with Hayabusa hasn't changed at all, it's just been postponed. Next season, no matter what, I'll make sure all of my goals come true, and I'll take you all along with me on that journey. So as you can see here, I'm playing Paquito. The main reason for this is to make sure I don't lose my muscle memory of his combos. Paquito is a hero that really relies on timing and execution, and if you don't practice him for a while, it's easy to mess up the flow of his skills. Another reason I picked him is because I wanted to give you guys some variety in content. I know lately I've been focusing a lot on Hayabusa, but I also enjoy playing other heroes. In fact, on my Smuff account, I even managed to get the Supreme rank number 17 title with Paquito, so he's definitely one of my favorites outside of Hayabusa. What I really love about Paquito is how smooth and satisfying his combos feel, and the amount of burst damage he can pull off when executed properly. Even though he's not really considered a meta hero right now, he's still more than capable of carrying in most decent games. Of course, when it comes to really tough matches against the strongest meta picks, he might not be as effective as some other top-tier heroes. But the thing is, if you're skilled enough with him, you can still make a big impact. A good Paquito player can always find opportunities to pull off something amazing and help the team turn things around. What I personally love the most about Paquito is his insane burst potential from early game all the way to late game. Even right from the start, his damage is so high that if you rotate early and manage to catch a squishy enemy off guard, you can literally burst them down in no time. And once he hits level 4, it gets even scarier. At that point, if Paquito manages to lock onto a squishy target, there's almost no escape. They'll get bursted in just 1 or 2 seconds before they even realize what happened. The key thing about Paquito is how fast you can pull off his combos. The quicker and smoother your execution, the less chance the enemy has to react. That's what makes him so deadly. Your combo speed is the difference between the enemy surviving or instantly getting deleted. But even though Paquito is really strong, he does come with a big downside. I strongly suggest that you avoid picking him when the opponents have really tanky heroes like Terizla, Fredrin, Hylos, and so on. The reason is simple. Paquito is most effective when you build him for pure burst damage. And as you already know, it's almost impossible to burst down these kinds of tanky frontliners who can just soak all your damage and keep fighting. Some of you might think, well, why not just build Paquito semi-tank, or even full tank? But here's the issue, he becomes a lot less effective that way. If you're playing in a 5-man squad with reliable teammates, then sure, you can sometimes go semi-tank. That way, you can still be useful by providing CC with your third skill and acting more like a secondary engager. But if you're playing solo queue, I don't recommend it at all. When you go semi-tank in solo games, you'll often end up in situations where you need to land your full combo just to kill one squishy target. And if you miss even one part of that combo, you're basically dead. Even worse, if the enemy marksman has Wind of Nature, then all your effort is wasted. You'll deal no damage and just put yourself in danger. That's why I usually recommend building full damage. With a full burst build, you can delete squishy enemies instantly by surprise, sometimes with just one combo, or even one shot. You don't have to drag the fight out or rely on executing every skill perfectly. One clean engage is enough to swing the fight in your favor. These are some things you should know. 1. If the enemies are tanky and you're in solo queue, avoid Paquito completely. He's just not effective in that situation. 2. If the enemies are squishy and you're in solo queue, go full damage. Play smart, and you can easily carry your entire team. 3. If you're in a 5-man team with reliable teammates, you can try semi-tank when facing tanky opponents, since your job is more about setting up fights and stunning enemies. But honestly, even then, I'd tell you to avoid picking Paquito in a super tanky matchup. 4. If the enemies are squishy in 5-man, go full damage again and focus on one-shotting key targets by surprise. At the end of the day, Paquito is a hero that shines when the enemy composition allows him to use his burst to the fullest. If you pick him in the right games, he can be a monster. But if you pick him into the wrong lineup, you'll struggle a lot no matter how good you are. Another really important thing about Paquito that a lot of players overlook is the hit and run strategy. You always need to keep this in mind when playing him. What I often see beginners doing is they use all of Paquito's skills in one go, dive straight into the middle of the fight, and then just keep auto-attacking like they're some kind of fighter who can stand there forever. And that's exactly why they die so easily. Paquito is not that kind of hero. The correct way to play him is to go in, unleash your combo, and then immediately retreat for about 3 to 4 seconds until your cooldowns are back. Once your skills are ready again, you re-engage, burst another target, and retreat again. That's the rhythm you need to master with him.
The world makes way for the man who knows where he's going.
Think of him almost like Hellcurt. The playstyle is very similar. Attack, retreat, wait for cooldowns, and then strike again. If you get greedy and stay in the middle of the fight after using all your skills, you'll just end up feeding. But if you play with patience and keep hitting and running, you'll deal massive damage while staying alive much longer. So remember, with Paquito, it's not about fighting non-stop. It's about timing your combos, retreating, and coming back in again and again. That's how you truly maximize his potential.
Monster kill. My fists. My attack.
This match honestly felt really easy. The enemies had no proper coordination at all, while on our side we at least had decent teamwork. Their movements were very predictable. It was almost like we already knew what they were going to do next. On top of that, most of their heroes were squishy, which made things even better for me since I was playing a burst hero. But before anything, I just want to clear one thing. A lot of people think that I act like I'm some kind of pro player, while at the same time calling me a noob. Let me be honest with you guys. I've never once claimed myself to be a pro. I don't consider myself a player who's worthy enough to dominate every single match or crush every opponent. I'm just like you guys. I also lose games. I also go through losing streaks. And there are days when I play really badly. Days when I don't feel confident, I'm not in the right mood, or I just mess up. That doesn't mean I'm completely useless though. I've lost plenty of games, yes, but I've also won against global players, high immortal stars, and even against full global squads. Wins and losses are just part of the game. What I want to say is, I don't compare myself with anyone, and I don't self-claim to be worthy or pro. I'm just a normal player who happens to have a YouTube channel that's doing decently well. I share what I've learned in my gaming journey. I talk about my experiences, and I try to make content that connects with you guys. And because I upload videos almost every day, of course I have to write and say a lot of things to fill in the content. Sometimes you might disagree with what I say, and that's fine. But you should also think, what else can I possibly write or say in a 10 to 15-minute video every single day? Naturally, there will be things that not everyone agrees with. At the end of the day, I'm not arrogant about this. I just love playing the game, sharing my thoughts, and uploading videos. That's all there is to it. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but I'm only charging at him after he uses his passive shield. For those who might not know, when Lapu Lapu's passive bar is fully charged, he gains a shield that helps him survive burst damage. That shield can save him from threats and completely waste your combo if you dive in too early. So the best strategy is to just wait for him to burn that passive shield first. Once it's gone, that's the perfect time to engage. And of course, I always make sure I have all my skills available before going in, so I can maximize my burst and secure the kill without giving him a chance to fight back. So here I saw Lapu Lapu in the mid lane, and from that, I could already predict that he was going to rotate in this direction. Most players after clearing mid usually look for side lane rotations, so it was pretty obvious. That's why I positioned myself here and waited for him, turning it into a good opportunity to ambush him. And another thing about playing a fighter like this is that your job isn't just to land your combos or rotate around the map. You can also put a lot of pressure on the enemy hyper carry by disturbing their farm, constantly poking, zoning them out, or forcing them to retreat from the minion waves slows down their gold and experience gain. Even if you're not getting kills directly, this kind of harassment can make a huge difference in the game. By denying the enemy hyper carry farm, you limit their power spike, which in turn makes team fights much easier for your side later on. So as a fighter, you're not only dealing damage, you're also controlling the map and indirectly helping your team by weakening key enemies. Now, look at Gusion here. See how he immediately ran away from me? This is a perfect example of how enemies react when you constantly apply pressure. Even if you don't manage to kill them, just forcing them to retreat or lowering their HP can completely disrupt their mindset. When players are low on health or feel threatened, they start panicking and overreacting. They may miss farm, retreat unnecessarily, or make poor decisions just because they're under pressure. This kind of psychological impact is actually one of the most important aspects of playing a fighter or burst hero. Applying pressure like this becomes especially valuable when you're taking objectives like Lord or Turtle. If the enemy is panicking and hesitant to approach, it gives your team more control and safety to secure these objectives. Even without getting kills, just controlling the enemy's movement and decision-making can win you the game. Now watch the rest video. See you in the next.